So that way we can. All right, so we are now here with our live Q&A for our virtual assistant client readiness workshop on what to include in your portfolio, particularly your digital portfolio. What questions do you have?
Me first.
Go ahead.
Actually, I never been an BA,
Mhm.
so I'm looking for a client, but I'm
Okay.
having hard time to find one.
Mhm.
I don't know what's the problem, or maybe my English or my portfolio. But um, before I applied as BA to other company, I I managed to have first webinars regarding BA. So I attended a lot of webinars s- for VA. So
Mhm.
what do you think? What do you think is my problem regarding applying as BA?
Well, you did bring up some things that are common questions that I have personally received from clients, potential clients that are saying, hey, I'd like to have a virtual assistant, but these are the concerns that I have. And so, like you spoke of,
Mm.
whether or not you have a portfolio, whether or not you are new as a virtual assistant, or if you have experience as a virtual assistant, whether or not there's an English language barrier, all those are common questions. Mark, I'm going to tell you, I don't think they have to be looked at as problems, though, because a person who needs support knows how to look beyond certain things in order to get the help that they need, because a lot of those things can be worked through. Being in a different time zone has not ever been a problem for me and Camille. Camille and I have been working together for over 3 years now. And us being in a 12-hour time zone has not ever been an issue for us. For me, actually, I tell people it's kind of like magic. We'll talk at the top of my day. I'll go on about my business, go to bed, and wake up the next day, and what we talked about is done. Right? So I explain it to people that way so that they don't think that a time zone difference is a problem. Communication, right? People talk about English language barriers. Well, you spoke, you've heard me speak, you've asked a question, I'm answering. It's not a problem. Right? Now, some people do have a different tolerance for accents. If there's a person that has a lower tolerance for a accent that's in a language that's not native to theirs, maybe that's just not your person. But I do believe we have more intelligent, more cultured people in the world that will see you and your voice and your language gifts and abilities as an asset and not as a barrier to accomplishing work. So I just want to encourage you there. And then when you think about being new as a VA, that is okay. And I don't think that that's a problem. Now, depending on the type of opportunities you might be pursuing, just like any other career, maybe there are some preferences of work experience, right? Or maybe your digital portfolio doesn't fully demonstrate that you are experienced in providing what they're looking for, even though you haven't done it for long as a virtual assistant. You are not new to being a professional. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So since you've worked in other areas, since you've worked for other companies, since you've held other positions, all of that is what we call transferable skills. And you can incorporate those into your conversation, your interviews, your resume, and your digital portfolio as you build out your new career as a virtual assistant. So we're not going to focus on how many months or years you have or have not been a virtual assistant. We're going to focus on your leaning into, your niching down as a virtual assistant, but your capability, right? You're honing and training to gain new skills, but you have a lot of skills already available to you that you can use to serve clients and brands that you may want to work with. Does that help?
Um, Actually, yes. I have basic knowledge in FB ads management and graphic design and some other like video editing and audio editing. But in the end, when I'm applying, the competition is very tough. It is very, very tough. So I don't know if I'm I'm always left out because of their strong portfolio or because of their skills. Because I don't have any experience yet in BA, but I'm trying to put myself in that context because I really wanted to be a BA. But after I undergo an interview, I show everything that I got, what I have, and then it's always the same. They always
Okay.
left me out.
Okay. Let me make
Maybe
Go
I don't
ahead.
know if where's what really the problem is. But and sometimes I want to give up because maybe this is not really my calling.
It's new and it's tough. It sounds like Eliza wants to add a thought, but
Yes,
sometimes. Mhm.
if I may say something on that one, I may have been 9 years in freelancing, and with Tim Alston, I'm still there, Tawana, if you could still remember him, the
Mhm.
book author, yeah,
Mhm.
turning 2 years now, this October, and then yeah, actually, I think it's the confidence you have within yourself, Mark, that hinders you from having that kind of job you ever wanted. Because if you do not believe in yourself, it's hard for other people to believe in you. Since you are, as an individual, we are the ones who know what we are capable of doing, and we know our strengths and weaknesses as well. So you should have your confidence within yourself and believe in yourself. Nobody will believe in you except you. That's what I'm going to add. Yeah.
Thank you for adding that,
Yes.
Eliza. Thank you for adding that. Yep, you have been. Eliza's been with our network for at least 2 years, probably a little more than 2 years, and she has had some short-term and long-term client opportunities. And like she said, uh, knowing what you do and don't do is very helpful because then you start knowing how to niche down opportunities to pursue. And so when you think about virtual assistant work, we have to get innovative. We really do. Sometimes going through the normal job portals, like you said, the competition is tough. The digital world is saturated and there are still many opportunities out there for you. It's just identifying which ones are they and where are they. Our customers are not, excuse me, our customers are everywhere, but not everyone is our customer. And so, Mark, you might want to take some time to think about, where am I applying for roles as a virtual assistant? Am I trying to go through agencies? Am I using social media? Am I contacting local or international, businesses that are abroad? Am I contacting them directly and identifying what it is that they need, asking them questions and informing them how I can be an answer to those problems? A lot of times we have to go outside of the box to create the opportunities for us because they're not always readily available. Those that are readily available, the low-hanging fruits, guess how many other thousands of people are going for the low-hanging fruit? And then also recognizing, the bigger the opportunity, the slower the pipeline. That's something that feels really hard and tough because a lot of times we need what we need right now. And so we want to be the answer, and we want to be compensated for whatever we can provide right now. And there are opportunities out there that will do that for us. However, if we're looking for long-term client work, it might take a bit more digging and a bit more creativity to find that client. And so just like you hear online business coaches and speakers and digital marketers and influencers and all the things talk about who is your ideal customer or who is your customer avatar, as a virtual assistant, you want to ask yourself and take the time to answer the question, who is my ideal customer? What is it? What kind of work do I want to be able to do for this customer? And then when you think about the kind of work that you want to do for the customer, that helps you start thinking, now what kind of business owners need this support? What kind of businesses complement the business owners that I want to serve? Because sometimes it's not the actual industry or business that you think you want to work for, it's the customers that they work with and partner with that might need your support. So there's so many layers that you can go into, but the first thing you have to do is decide who you are, decide what you do, own it, right? Meaning, hey, I am fully capable of editing, I am fully capable of marketing or of graphic design, whatever your niche is, and figuring out how you can visually articulate that as well as verbally articulate that. So when you come across a client opportunity or when you create a client opportunity, you can send them, you can have a link attached in your email signature at all times that somebody can click on and say, oh, this from this guy named Mark, and he's got this portfolio down here. Let me click on it and see what this is about. Right. Or, oh, I met him on this virtual meetup, or, oh, I saw him in the store. Right. Because opportunities are everywhere. We just have to decide what kind of opportunities do we believe fit us best. And guess what? When we try for an opportunity and it no longer works for us, we have the option to change and pursue another opportunity. Right. And so I want you to be encouraged to think about where you're applying for opportunities as your virtual assistant. And when I say applying, that's not limited to the traditional, fill out your application and resume kind of applying, but literally, where are you spending your time to find virtual assistant opportunities? And then what type of virtual assistant opportunities you're seeking, so that you may be able to hopefully have an outcome that's more favorable for you, in your life, in your world, in your career. And that's a topic I'm actually going to write down here in the chat, where to find virtual assistant opportunities, or maybe like a how to find virtual assistant opportunities. I'm typing it in the chat so that I'll have a reminder to myself, because that's definitely a workshop that we can establish, right? Meeting more customers is common to every person in business, right? Or sustaining customers or having repeat customers or whatever the case may be.
Retention.
Retention. Yes, that is relevant to all of us. I don't care how well you can have 1 million customers, but if your platform falls apart and you have no way to access
Yes.
those 1 million customers again, guess what? You're gonna need another 1 million customers, or you're gonna want to try to get back in touch with those 1 million customers. So client retention is common to every business. I don't care what industry it is. Hospitals need people. Right? They need sick people to come in so they can help make them well, right? Restaurants need hungry people to come in so that they can feed them and have them be satisfied and coming back. Schools need students to constantly come in so that they can constantly be educating. Financial people constantly need people with revenue, whether it's revenue problems and or revenue that needs to be cultivated and invested somewhere. Every industry needs customers. The question is, what's your industry? Who are your customers that you're seeking to serve, and what problems do they have, so that you can identify whether or not you're their answer. Okay.
Actually, Tawana, if I may say something.
Yes.
I have been in freelancing for 9 years now, right? Though I still not consider myself an expert, because I believe that it's a continuous learning process for anybody, actually.
Mhm.
No matter how long, it doesn't define who you are at
Yep.
all.
Yep.
It is what you learn the most that defines you. And yeah. And also before, when I entered Bootstrap Dreams, it wasn't that clear to me in terms of my niche.
Mhm.
But right now, I am having a clearer picture of what I really wanted to offer my clients. I am a digital marketing strategist now,
Mhm.
focusing on email copywriting.
Yes.
That's what I'm focused on now. And it's good to know that I have chosen a niche of my own, because I am able to focus on that one.
Mhm.
Even
Is
although of course, I know other skills, but that's my main offer to my book author clients. Like that.
right.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Because
Actually,
you want to be
startups.
specialized where possible, right? Like sometimes when we're starting out, we'll try a little bit of this and a little bit of that until we are able to make the decision of what we want to niche down into. However,
Yes.
when you find your niche, it keeps you from being stressed out and strung out as much as being spread out will, right? Like
Yes.
when you're trying to be a marketer and an accountant and a human resources professional and it drives you crazy, and you end up taking a lot of opportunities that you're probably not going to choose to stay in because you don't really like all the things that you're doing. But there is maybe 1 or 2 things that you're like, I love doing. Focus on doing those things.
Yeah.
And you will find better success because you will be well. Like first, it starts with your personal well-being. When you are well, you can show up for the work. You can show up as a business owner. You can show up for your clients. You can show up when you are more well. And so if I figure out what helps you to be well, then you have a much better and a more successful option of showing up and doing well with and for others. So Eliza, like you said, when you came into our network, you didn't have a niche per se, or you weren't quite clear what that niche was, but over time, you've made a conscious and confident decision for yourself to say, this is what I want to do. This is my area of
Yes.
expertise. I'm capable of other things. However, this is my true area of expertise. And you let your work and your career and your client opportunities drive you, or really you drive them through that. And you're able to function so much better as a result.
And yes, and I am focusing on startups businesses, not really just book authors, but mainly startup businesses, because I believe that their success is my success also if they have this specific kind of achievement in the future.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is so good. What other
Yeah.
questions come to mind? Any other questions?
Actually, I don't know if where's my my real strength is,
Oh.
but because I tried creative writing, copywriting, graphic
Mhm.
design, video editing,
Mhm.
marketing, and none of the company that I applied for accept me or accepted me. And sometimes I sense that when there's an assessment in English, I always fail. And
Ah.
maybe that's the reason why I always left out. But but when they interview me, I answer them, and sometimes uh, 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 I it's not the sense that I don't understand them.
Mhm.
I understand them deeply. I know what they are talking, but since English is not my native language,
Mhm.
I'm having hard time to pass that assessment in English, and maybe that's the reasons because uh, I really you told me, Eliza, about you show confidence, so you show confidence. I am confident and I know myself. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And that's why I'm pushing myself to do so. But
Mhm.
something is really hindering myself to to excel or to be NBA because of that kind of assessment. But anyway,
Can
that's
I
life.
can I ask you, Mark, about the assessment you're referring to? When you talk about an assessment, tell me a bit more about the type of assessment that you are being asked to take. 'Cause
Uh,
then I may be able to give some suggestions on how to, if you're going to keep encountering those type of assessments, I may be able to give some suggestions, and maybe even Eliza may be able to give some suggestions to help you strengthen following through those. Because sometimes the steps are the steps, right? Like there are some opportunities where there's just a type of criteria that you may be expected to go through. And so if these are the types of criteria that you find yourself needing to answer in order to get where you want to go, we want to strengthen your ability to answer the criteria, right? But if you say, you know what, there's another way, because I do believe there's more than one way, helping you identify what you are strong at and helping you identify how to strongly answer or respond, whether it's an interview or an assessment or your portfolio, I think will be transformational for you. Because sometimes, like you said, you know what you know, but are you articulating it? Meaning, are you able to speak to it in a way that helps paint the picture for the person who's seeking to understand that you know what you know and how what you know will be a positive impact for them. So tell me about this assessment you're referring to.
Actually, sometimes mostly of the assessment that I encountered, um, those assessment is as having time limit or having time limit. So since I'm really thinking, reading, and really thinking what really the answer is, I always end up answering. I'm not really answering all the questions because of the time limit.
Got it.
Oh yes. And there are times since there is a time limit. Uh, I just click the letter B, letter C, letter Z, just to finish the the assessment. And maybe that's really my strength because I truly analyze first the questions before I answer, and uh, I consume a lot of time thinking and analyzing those things because I don't want to end up answering bad. But since there's a time limit, and sometimes maybe there are 20 more questions to go before the time, but the
Mhm,
time is already 30 minutes left.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I really do that kind of good. I just pick A, B, C, and so on just to finish the
Okay,
assessment.
got
And
it.
some in some interview, uh, as an interview, they asked me why you uh they asked me that your assessment in English is not quite good. I don't know what's really the problem, but for that, you can't move forward. We can't move forward with your application, and that's very sad because um, that's the only thing that hinders me really. I think, and that's why since I encountered the problems, I'm searching for English lessons online, free
Mhm,
English lessons because I can't afford to pay for I can't afford to pay for English lesson
mhm.
with payment or with enrollment fee.
Yeah,
So I'm just looking for some free English lessons online. And luckily, so I find some, but uh, it's always the same. Uh, and then I try again to apply. Then another again assessment in English, and then I failed.
yeah. So standardized tests and assessments, can I just tell you, even for a native English speaker, can be hard.
Oh yeah,
Time limited exams, assessments, they are difficult, I think, for many people, whether you're a native English speaker or not, because they add stress. Sometimes the questions are worded oddly, meaning the question may be written in a way that's less common than a person would actually speak and communicate. right? So it causes you to pause and say, what in the world are they asking? And then you spend time trying to figure out what is the answer. And then nowadays tests have more than one answer. They're like, well, choose the best right answer. What? Right? Because there's more than one way. And so I want you to, I hear you in recognizing these tests, they have time limits. And sometimes ultimately, I just kind of rush through at the end just to finish. I don't necessarily answer all the questions, as accurately as possible because I'm just trying to finish. One strategy that you can do, and it will take time and practice. Like there's not a lot of shortcuts to formal assessments. Answering the question to the best possible answer possible is going to be like the best possible way for you to truly complete an assessment. But something that helped me when I'm doing formal assessments is to look down. Usually, ultimately, what you're absolutely seeking to answer or solve is at the very end of whatever paragraph or sentence structure that's provided. So for me, I like to look and read, what am I solving for? So that when I go back and read the context of the question or the problem statement, I already have in my mind, oh, they want to know this. Because a lot of times these assessments will have fluff in them that have nothing to do with the answer that you need to be choosing. So when you read an assessment, if you're able, and maybe there are like some online apps that gamify English language assessments, or assessments in the field of work that you're looking to go to. I'm pretty sure there's an app or something for that, where even if you just had to do the trial over and over again. But it'll take practice. However, if you just try to read, instead of reading all this and then trying to think about the answer, what is it that they're asking me? What is it that they want me to solve? What's the problem they want me to solve? Or what options should I really be focusing in on? So when I read the larger part of the question in the assessment, I'm zoned in on what actually matters instead of getting lost in things that might not.
Okay, got it.
Got it? So that's something
Yeah.
that you can try. Again, it's not
Yes.
an absolute 100%, like if you do this, you will be successful every time. I think it is a hack, if you will, for getting through the questions more strategically and for focusing on what matters as you answer the questions, especially
Oh,
if they happen to be long wordy questions. Does that help?
yes. Yes. Got it. Got it.
Okay.
Mhm, mhm. And another thing is, actually, I really need at least one company, one person, or that can really trust me. Because
Mhm.
I believe if I have that one customer or client, it is a domino effect of everything.
Yes.
And until now, I'm looking for that one.
Yes.
Hopefully, I can find him or her so that I can start my career as VA. And maybe hopefully, Tatuana and I mean, Tatuana and Eliza can help me here. If you have any part-time job there, maybe you can ask me if I can.
Right. And that's our goal. I mean, it really, because like you said, it's like the starfish approach. If you can just make a difference with one person, and that person speaks highly of you, and maybe even becomes a referral for you, that can literally change your life, right? It can change your career. It can totally change your path. And that's what we hope to do, is like, if we can just start with one, or if we can identify a client who's just seeking for one virtual assistant to make one specific type of impact in their business, that's what we want to be able to help with. And we find same thing. What we need are more serious customers, more serious clients who aren't afraid of the relationship that can be fostered and that can be built through working with virtual assistants who may not look like them, who may not sound like them, who may not live in their area, right? Who may be in a different time zone. Even though we're in such a digital world, people still get afraid of what they cannot grasp, what they cannot, control, if you will. And with virtual assistants, it really is about building a rapport. It is about establishing trust, right? It is about delegating and creating the room and the space for the work to be formed and developed together. It is about that entrepreneur seeing and believing and making the time to connect with that VA so that the VA can learn the brand of their client, anticipate the needs of the client. And so when I say we end up coaching on both sides of this partnership, we literally end up coaching and consulting on both sides of this partnership. And we believe, which is why we're leaning right now much more into the VA client readiness workshops than the hustle and bustle of finding clients. because we know the more ready you are as a VA, the more we can promote you. We have different opportunities in the pipeline where we'd like to feature VAs, like specifically have like meet Liza, right? Meet Mark, and be able to let people see like, wow, these aren't chat bots, these aren't AI bots, these aren't, and we're not saying those things are bad. We are saying that there's still a need for the human touch in entrepreneurship. There's still a need for the human touch in all areas of business. And we want to be able to basically vouch for you and highlight you so that people who are looking for a virtual assistant, but they do not have the capacity to go through the whole search, search and pre-screen and recruit and all that stuff, we're taking the load off by doing that for them. And we're connecting them with virtual assistants like you who are ready and capable of being of service so that they can get the help more quickly and so that you can be right, a successful VA more quickly. So these are things that we're really looking forward to as we step into the last quarter of this year and seek to launch some new things in the new year. So definitely stick with us. Definitely give us grace as Camille and I evolve and redevelop, our business and our brand, and even the customers that we're choosing to work with. Because again, our customers are everywhere, but not everyone is our customer, especially going forward. And so we want to make sure that when you work with a client or you're invited to work with a client, we don't want you to be not working with the client within days or weeks from now. We want you to touch base with us 3 months, 6 months, a year from now and say, I am still working with this client, or I was able to move on from this client and take on an even greater opportunity because of the growth and because of the support that was provided, whether it's through our company and or through the client that you were referred to. So definitely continue to stick with us because we're making some really big changes, and change is tough and change can be slow, but we wholeheartedly believe in what this is going to do for you all and what it's going to do for us to be able to help more virtual assistants and to help more small business owners work together and be successful. Like the reciprocity factor will absolutely exist. Liza, do you have anything to add or any questions to ask on your end?
I would like to know, if you have startup clients right now.
We do have some clients right now. What we do is recruit based on the specific needs that they have, right? So if a client is saying, I want graphic design or marketing VA, we will hone in or niche our focus onto those, VAs. And so then, an administrative VA or an operations VA or, a copywriting VA or, some other VAs that may not necessarily be targeted as a graphic or marketing might not hear from us in that time beyond perhaps like the training opportunity or something that we have. So we're also trying to identify, do we niche on client needs, or do we just niche on a client that has a certain capability of bringing a VA into their company. So right now we are getting a lot because the world is so social and the world is so digital. We're getting a lot of asks about marketing virtual assistants, about digital virtual assistants, about content, like graphic and editing content specialists. However, as an operations professional myself, I want more business owners to know that you need the back end stuff just as much as you need the pretty stuff, right?
Yes.
But finding them hasn't been as easy. And so we're even changing industries that we're looking at for the more like operational and non-artistic, if you will, visually artistic types of VAs or clients that need that type of work. We're even looking at other industries like construction, right? They might not care about having a social media profile, but they do need someone to handle billing and invoicing. They do need someone to onboard employees. They do need someone to outsource website development and HR handbooks and safety guides and things like that. So we are truly, we're getting innovative, right? We're pushing ourselves past our comfort zones to try and identify where we can get a more steady flow of clients that need virtual assistants like yourselves. And we welcome the help. And we also welcome the opportunity for, let's say you're new as a VA or you're into a new niche as a VA and you're like, I don't have any samples of work and I need to develop some. We've got stuff that needs to be done. We welcome the opportunity to say, do this and we'll refer you, or here's a short-term project. Let's talk about what it would cost for you to get it and knock it out, because we're trying to develop, we're focused on developing and building the business. But we do know that there are some aesthetic or back office things that need to be accomplished. So those are conversations that I'm willing to have. But I definitely absolutely recognize and have no problem admitting we would like to have a more steady, a stronger flow of clients and a variety of client needs, because we have a variety of VA skills that are seeking clients to work with. Mhm. Any other questions before we conclude today's workshop?
And so far,
Yeah.
thank you very much for sharing your experience and thoughts.
Thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate you all sharing this time with us and
Mhm.
just making it a priority to even interact, like that. This makes it so much better to me when we're
Yes.
able to have these live conversations.
Would it be
It's actually giving for me hearing those things, and it really makes sense. Hopefully, I can work with you someday or soon.
I know, like let's definitely continue to connect further. Because like I said, what I like to do is say, hey, I've known this VA, or this VA has been a part of our network, or this VA has done X, Y, and Z, types of tasks or strategies, or has produced certain types of results either for my business or for a client of our business, or for a client of their own. And so I'm confident in their capability, and their dependability to do this work with you. Like those are the types of referrals that really work strongly in this type of network and relationship.
Okay.
And Liza, you were going to say something else?
Yes, I would like to know if I can have still another client with Bootstrap teams.
We're always open to having you, be resourced. We don't have, as long as you have availability, you are welcome
Yes.
to have more than
I
one
have
client, or you're welcome to transition clients. And so if there's anything, any like specific concerns you want to talk about, we can definitely do it offline, but we don't
you
have
have
any
full-time clients? Full-time client?
right now. We don't. We
But
don't
it's
have
okay.
any full-time clients right now. Most of the clients that come in are wanting part-time help because they're either they're really small, and so they're like, I don't want to
Yes,
overcommit.
startups.
Yeah, they're startups, or they are not sure how it works. And
Okay.
so they want to start out small and then they build
Yes.
up into more time, with the VAs. So we have more part-time VA opportunities than full-time opportunities, but we're hoping that will grow as well.
I still have 40 hours per week to available.
Okay,
Actually, for two clients perhaps,
okay.
ever additional, and yeah, anything else done. I do my work with them on weekends only.
Uh-huh.
So there's no problem with it.
You have availability.
Yes, a lot of availability. And yeah.
Awesome. That's good to know. It is good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and call this one an end for this VA client readiness workshop. We'll definitely be back with our next one in September. I think it's the third week of the month. Don't have the date right off, but Camille will be sending out an email to our email community, letting you know what the workshop is. You can always either hop right on the Zoom link or get on the Calendly. I like the Calendly because it sends you reminders, right? Like it sends you a 24-hour reminder and then the day of reminder before the workshop. So that way, if you get busy and you forgot it was happening, you can hop on. And even last week myself, life happened and I just like, oh my gosh, I totally missed the workshop. And so we rescheduled it because we know how important it is for you all to have this information and how fulfilling it is for us to be able to share this information with you in hopes that it will help you get more client ready faster. So thank you so much for taking the time to join me on this VA client readiness workshop with Virtual Assist. And this topic was about what to include in your digital portfolio. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Joanna.
You are so welcome. Thank you both again.